A young dancer, after a leg injury, moves into a luxurious apartment building with kind-hearted landlords. However, she soon realizes that she has become the object of interest for a true satanic cult. The events of the film take place in New York in 1965, where Terry Gianofrio works as a dancer. One day, during a performance, she lands badly and breaks her ankle right on stage. After surgery and recovery, things are not going well for her. Terry limps and buys painkillers from a street musician to numb the pain. Her roommates have grown tired of her forced presence. The girl tries to find work as a dancer, but fails every audition and risks further damaging her leg due to unfortunate falls. At a certain audition, the choreographer learns of Terry's injury and assures her that the fall won't happen again. They ask her to perform the same move that caused her fall the last time. Terry successfully executes it, but is asked to repeat it over and over. With each repetition, it becomes harder for her. Barely holding back tears from the pain, Terry twists her leg during a jump, leading to another polite rejection. Director Allen asks Terry to portray a pig, drawing from childhood memories of her family farm. Despite her difficult financial situation, the girl refuses to demean herself. After the audition, Terry decides to follow Marchand to his home, hoping to arrange a personal meeting. However, at the doorman's desk, she has a seizure from the illegal pills she took. She hears strange sounds from the elevator. As she leaves, Terry bumps into a couple, Roman and Minnie Castevet. They take her home and put her to bed. The next morning, Terry meets the friendly landlords. Minnie shows interest in her career and injury. Then the couple, out of the goodness of their hearts, offers her a free stay in a neighboring apartment while she recovers. The apartment belongs to the Castevets, and they personally select their neighbors. Terry accepts the offer and moves out from her friend Annie's place, ignoring Annie's warnings that she barely knows these old people. However, the chance to live in a luxurious home next to the director who could hire her outweighs all doubts and caution. In her new apartment, Terry finds a shoe belonging to the previous tenant, Joan. When she returns it to Minnie, she throws the shoe in the trash, seemingly unwilling to talk about Joan. Minnie invites Terry to a party at Marchand's, but when the girl arrives, she finds out that the Castevets won't be attending, leaving her alone with the director. During their conversation, it turns out that Roman is a patron of the arts. Suddenly, Terry starts to feel dizzy from the drinks. Stumbling, she heads for the exit, but in the hallway, reality starts to blur, plunging her into a world of drunken fantasies. Terry imagines herself performing in some kind of musical, with Marchand and the Castevets also present. The show ends with her lying tied to a bed, while a strange creature with shimmering skin hovers over her. Terry screams and wakes up, finding herself in Marchand's bed, having spent the night there but remembering nothing. The man, however, thanks her for a wonderful time and reminds her that she's been accepted into the troupe for the new musical. During a break in rehearsals, Terry notices a bruise on her wrist, as if from a rope. Her colleagues in the chorus eye her suspiciously due to her messing up the rhythm and getting into the group through the bedroom. Later, while examining herself in the restroom, Terry notices bruises all over her body. Upon returning home, Minnie asks her to come over, wanting to introduce her to another neighbor, Miss Gardenia. The older women discuss Terry's injury and prepare a special ointment for her, which she must apply to her leg twice a day. In the next scene, Terry approaches the open elevator doors, but behind them, there's a gleaming, empty shaft. She peers inside and the descending cabin nearly takes off her head. It turns out to be just another one of her terrifying dreams. In another dream, she sees a masked and horned figure standing beside her bed. Upon waking, she notices that her leg has significantly improved and even hops on it to fully convince herself. Thanks to the miraculous ointment, Terry quickly regains her dancing form. At a Christmas party hosted by Minnie, Terry meets other guests, including the intrusive obstetrician Dr. Saperstein, who leaves the dancer his business card. Later, Terry notices a secret gathering, with participants closing the door right in front of her. She also accidentally overhears a strange conversation between Minnie and another guest, which abruptly stops when she enters. The Castevets gift Terry a fur coat and an old medallion for luck, with a root of tannis inside. Later, Terry gifts her friend Annie a silk scarf. She can now afford expensive presents since she no longer has to pay rent. However, during the celebration, Terry once again experiences visions. She sees terrifying root-like hands wrapping around her waist. One day, Terry experiences a bout of nausea, a symptom of pregnancy. The new life inside her body threatens to jeopardize all her plans for the future, making her question everything. A colleague advises her to drink bleach or fall down the stairs, which enrages Terry so much that she almost pushes her down the stairs. But the words stick in Terry's mind, and while doing laundry, she begins to contemplate how many gulps of bleach it would take. Her thoughts are interrupted by a noise coming from the washing machine. She sees a silhouette at work, and in the mirror she envisions the horned figure. But when she turns around, no one is there. At work, her colleagues mock her, placing eggs on her chair to ridicule her pregnancy. Marchand stands up for her, knowing about her condition, but is in no hurry to remove her from the show. Upon returning home, Terry finds that the Crystaly have entered her apartment with a spare key to congratulate her on her pregnancy. The doctor had informed them. She believes it's none of their business, but the elderly couple shows her another apartment on the floor, which they've prepared as a nursery. They confess that they've tried for many years to have children but have been unsuccessful. They want to raise Terry's child as their own, promising her in return protection in show business and a career as an actress instead of a dancer. Terry contemplates this while standing over the crib, but she continues to be tormented by nightmares, and her nights with Marchand are completely erased from her memory. Many of the neighbors from the building appear in her dreams. One night, Miss Gardenia sneaks into her apartment, apologizing for letting things go so far. The old woman attacks the girl with scissors. Terry locks herself in a room until the woman collapses from a stroke. She calls an ambulance. In the morning, the Crystaly stop by asking for some sugar for their tea and inform her that Miss Gardenia has fallen into a coma. After they leave, Terry notices a hidden door in the pantry that leads to Miss Gardenia's apartment. There, she finds a book on rituals, which includes an illustration of a horned man, just like the one that haunts her nightmares. During a rehearsal on stage, the lead actress suffers a seizure resembling tetanus, with her joints twisting unnaturally. After this, the lead role is given to Terry. There are only a few days left before the premiere. As part of her preparation for the role, she asks Minnie to trim her hair, expressing her suspicion that the old woman convinced the director to give her the part. Minnie, displeased with Terry's reaction, accidentally nicks her ear with the scissors, but only by accident, supposedly unintentionally. During the final rehearsal, Terry notices Minnie on the balcony, which throws her rhythm off a bit. When she looks back again, her neighbor is gone. While washing off her makeup in the dressing room, the dancer suddenly sees her belly enlarged, as if she's near the end of her pregnancy, and the fetus moves beneath her skin. The vision quickly fades, but a disturbing feeling remains. Terry calls the doctor, who invites her for a consultation, but she hangs up before he can finish. Terry studies the book she stole from Miss Gardenia, where she sees an image of the pendant she was given for luck and various rituals, including the conception of the Antichrist. Her reading is interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Minnie standing there. Terry barely manages to latch the door chain as her landlady tries to open it with her own key. The girl politely refuses the offered treats, forcing the old woman to leave. After that, Terry packs her bags, planning to escape this hospitable home. Carefully passing by the Crystaly's apartment, she heads to the theater, where she reviews old programs looking for Joan, who lived in her apartment before her. She finds out that Joan disappeared without a trace 6 months ago, never collecting her things from the wardrobe. While sifting through Joan's belongings, Terry finds a Bible, but as soon as she touches it, the Holy Scripture burns her hand. Immediately after, Terry goes to a church, awkwardly praying despite the pain in her stomach. A nun finds her there, and upon seeing Miss Gardenia's book in Terry's hands, explains that it's a sort of Satanist Bible from which it's best to stay far away. The cult had chosen Joan to carry Satan's son, but when she tried to flee, she perished. Now, Terry has taken her place as the devil's incubator. Terry visits an underground clinic with minimal sanitation. However, during the procedure, the doctor suffers a seizure as her legs spasm and cramp, interrupting the operation. Realizing she must face the cult alone, Terry returns to her apartment. In the building, she enters the elevator, which descends into the basement. Spotting Minnie through the window, Terry searches for her in the room, but upon finding no one, returns to the elevator, Suddenly it starts moving downwards into an area where there shouldn't be any floors. She finds herself in a subterranean tunnel reminiscent of her nightmare. Walking further inside, Terry discovers a hall with a stage where a satanic altar is set up. She is caught there by Marchand. He admits that on the night she cannot remember, a dark ritual took place here. He tells her that it was her own ambition for fame that led her into darkness. In response, she stabs him, and then notices the horned monster she had seen before. In terror, she flees back to the elevator. However, upon reaching the first floor, she finds that the doorman has already locked the door, refusing to let her out. Terry goes up to her apartment, where Minnie and Roman are already waiting for her. The elderly couple reminds her that she was a nobody when they took her in, and now she's a successful actress. That was the deal. In response, Terry attempts to plunge a kitchen knife into her stomach to break this contract, but a supernatural force stops her hand. Helpless, she collapses. The Castavets reveal to her that she is carrying the son of the devil, the god they worship. The satanic couple offers Terry the chance to accept her fate, along with all the privileges she will gain in return. Confused and overwhelmed, Terry agrees. They wash her clean of dirt and blood and lead her to a gathering of high-ranking individuals, members of the satanic cult. Roman announces that God is dead and Satan is alive, marking the first year of a new era. The attendees then praise Satan and Terry. Afterward, the surrogate mother mingles with the guests, drinking and making toasts. Eventually, Terry begins dancing to entertain the wealthy guests. She dances to the rhythm of the music, approaching Minnie, and embraces her, thanking her for the opportunity to perform the greatest role of her life. The dance ends at the window's ledge. Sitting on it, Terry takes one last look at the Satanists before leaping out, landing directly on an unsuspecting car below. The camera pans away from her lifeless body, and the film ends here. Unlike Rosemary's Baby, the story of the child does not continue.